So last class we have seen isolation of DNA from various sources. We have seen how we can isolate DNA from bacterial source, how DNA can be isolated from the mammalian system, how DNA can be isolated from plant system, and then apart from that we have seen how to isolate plasmid also. Each and every isolation was followed by purification. So now what we have now, we have a pure form of nucleic acid. Okay, so it can be DNA or it can be RNA. RNA isolation also we have seen, isn't it? You guys are there with me till now? Okay. So now if I want to tell a story, it is almost like I have a raw material right now. This raw material, this nucleic acid, if I want to do, guys, the voice is breaking. Is it clear? No. Okay, Shweta, it will be okay. Yes, Anupa. Kumari. So now we have a DNA and then RNA. If I want to do any experiment, it can be PCR or it can be southern blotting or it can be cloning. I want to find out how much I have, how much quality. So now I am going to tell you how I am going to analyze the isolated DNA and RNA quantitatively and then qualitatively. Quantitatively means I am going to tell you the concentration, microgram per ml. Okay. Qualitatively means is the DNA is intact or not, is there is any degradation or not. So this is what I am going to do, analysis of nucleic acid for qualitative and then quantitative analysis I am going to do. Clear? For that purpose, what I am going to do now, what people have used now, UV spectrophotometer, agarose gel electrophoresis, fluorometer, colorimetric blotting. This fluorometer and then colorimetric blotting, both of them are very old method which is not in use currently. So I am not going to see about this one. But we are going to discuss in detail about UV spectrophotometer, which can be used for quantitative QU, which is going to tell me microgram per ml, whereas my agarose gel is going to tell me quality, it is going to tell me. Okay, clear or not, guys? I think everybody must have performed UV spectrophotometer, agarose gel electrophoresis, right? What is the basic principle behind spectrophotometer, guys? What is the basic principle behind it? Beer-Lambert's law. Very good, Avarti, Anshul, Mamita, Anupa, Kumari, Gayatri. Very good. So Beer spectrophotometer is working based on the principle called Beer-Lambert's law. If you see that this is a specific setup of your spectrophotometer. So this is your light source. In between we are going to keep a sample. After entering the sample, it is going to enter a slit and then it is going to be a monochromatic. So it should be like, sorry guys, I am explaining in the wrong way. It should be like, this is a light source. It will hit the prism, monochromata prism. Here if you see that polychromatic light, from here it is a monochromatic light come based on the nanometer we set, and then to enter the slit, it hits the sample and then it will be detected by my detector. So this is a specific setup of an spectrophotometer, right? But if you see that most of you will get a digital number 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. But the same spectrophotometer can be analyzed for the spectral analysis. I think when you guys do research, you guys will know. So the same mode, the same spectrophotometer, I can choose whether I want a spectral mode or I want a absolute number mode. So whatever you see in the colleges and whatever your number, even the protein estimation, whatever you see 0.01, 0.2, 0.5, all those things are absolute number endpoint. But you can choose a spectral analysis also. If you see that, this is a spectra of, if I put a spectra, this is a spectra of single stranded DNA. This is the spectra of double stranded DNA. You can see that 260, both the type of DNA is having maximum absorption. Okay. This is y-axis is absorption. Do you observe this one, guys? Everyone, can I have a response from everyone? Yes or no? Okay. Okay. Everybody says yes, we have observed. The question is, why single-stranded DNA is having maximum absorption than the double-stranded DNA? Very, very common interview question. Very, very common any PhD entrance exam question, including CSIR. Anybody? And then moreover, little bit more refined Fanila, you're almost there. Yes, Mala, anybody can say that unwind DNA absorb more light. My question is why? Very good, Chetana. Vanilla, both of them are going to be same. If you see that double stranded will have more of what you are saying, and then single stranded will have less of what you are saying, right? Yes, Abhishek, you are almost there. Okay, some people have started answering, some people are not answering. Shall I answer that? Shall I tell the answer? Double-stranded DNA is like this. This is the hydrogen bond. Whereas single-stranded DNA is going to be like this, because the single-stranded DNA is going to be formed out of denature of double-stranded DNA. If you see that, even though the nucleotides are going to be less when compared to double-stranded, still the absorption is high. From this, what I can infer now, the exposure of hydrogen bond is more when compared to double-stranded. So from here, what I'm going to say is, and then even the nucleotides are exposed much. So it is called hyperchromic shift. Yes, that is what I am talking here. So that is the way why there is a shift in the absorption of a UV spectrophotometer. Understood, guys? Okay. So another important calculation formula I'm going to tell you here. When you keep, this is about spectrum. Now I'm going to tell about the absolute point. When I keep the sample here, DNA or RNA or thing, the output, the optical density is equal to 1. If the optical density is equal to 1, then if it is a double-stranded DNA, the concentration of the double-stranded DNA is 50 microgram. Okay. If I use a single-stranded DNA, if I get an optical density of 1, it contains 33 microgram per ml. If it is RNA, if the optical density is 1, it contains 50 microgram per ml concentration. This will help you to find the concentration of DNA in the given solution. Understood or not? I'm not getting a response. Everybody is sleeping. If you take a solution, this contains double stranded DNA. Okay, you are taking reading using spectrophotometer. If the OD is equivalent to 1, which you can directly imply the concentration of the double stranded DNA is 50 microgram per ml if the OD is 1. Understood? Same way, single stranded DNA, if the OD is 1, the concentration is 33 microgram. The single stranded RNA, the OD is 40 microgram. Clear? Yes, this is standard. That is what I told Rajesh formula. Okay. So now you got a concentration. Now using this formula, you will know the concentration. How the 50, 33, 40 values have made? What if OD is less? If the OD is 0.5, if I take double stranded DNA, it is going to have 25 microgram per ml. What is Beer-Lambert's law? Absorption is directly proportional to the concentration of the substance, right? Chitra? Yeah, so you can calculate, right? Cross multiplication, side multiplication, direct multiplication, do whatever you want. Himanshu? Next, we are going to see how we can check the purity of isolated DNA. Very important formula, guys. Always the ratio of absorption at 260 divided by absorption at 280 will give you the purity of the isolated nucleic acid. It can be both for RNA as well as DNA. So if you want to be a little bit more specific, so absorption is 260 minus absorption is 320 divided by absorption at 280 minus absorption of 320. This is the formula which is used for high-tech techniques. Why? We know that absorption of 260 is for nucleic acid, right? Absorption as 320 is, it is mostly which gives the turbidity of the sample. Which gives the turbidity of the sample. Normally it will be subtracted from the sample solution. Okay. 280, we know that it is the 280 is for protein. 320 again the turbidity of the solution. Okay. So by taking this ratio, the result is between 1.7 to 2. 1.7 to 2. Then the isolated DNA does not contain any protein. That is what your isolated DNA or RNA is good quality protein. If less than 1.7, which means that it is contaminated with protein. So again you will be doing the methods for purifying the protein. Understood or not? Okay. So those who have done the experiment for doing anything, Akshita, I told turbidity of the solution. 320 is turbidity of the solution. Murdula, if you take absorption at 260, you will get X value, right? So if you take absorption at 280, you will get some value, right? When I divide, if the answer is between 1.7 to 2, then the concentration of the DNA or RNA in the sample is good. Okay. What kind of significance you are expecting, Shweta? You cannot get more than that, Himanshu. If you get 1.7, yes, Surabhi, if you get 1.7, that is such a big thing. You will not get more than 2. You can, if you get 2.2, 2.5, something it is wrong. I didn't come to that point, Syed. If I come to that point, you can ask a question. Okay? Any formula. This is standard one I'm talking. If Shweta, the significance is, this is not a significant we cannot talk area, it is an application. I have a idea here. I want to check the concentration. I want to get the I want to check the quality of the DNA. So the DNA will absorb maximum at 260. The only contamination can be protein. So when I divide, it will come. So there is no any significance. You cannot ask significance for each and every formula in engineering, Shweta. Will you ask? Then how can you ask here? Yeah, you find the question and then ask me. Definitely it is not the way you asked. It may be a different way. You send the question, I'll reply it. So this is the basic. And then if I want to estimate the concentration, for example, so if you have isolated DNA sample of, for example, 1 ml. Okay? 1 ml, or let it keep 5 ml of sample. So for my entire spectrophotometer analysis, I'm going to take 0.5 ml for understanding purpose. I'm telling all the big numbers. Okay, guys, you are following what I'm saying? But mostly we will be doing in microliter. For understanding purpose, I'm writing in ml. I have isolated DNA of 5 ml. I'm taking 0.5 ml and then I am adding 0.5 ml of buffer, and then I am taking the OD. Okay, so if I want to calculate the concentration of the DNA in 5 ml, I want to take the absorption at 260 minus absorption as 280, sorry, minus 320 into, it will give one reading, into dilution factor. What is dilution factor? That is a question by Syed. So dilution factor is, here 0.5 ml is diluted in 1.5 ml. What is the dilution factor? Water added. Dilution factor is, what is the dilution factor here? 0.5 is not a dilution factor here. It is 2, very good, Richa. So I'm taking one part is diluted in 2 parts. So dilution factor is 2. So into 50 microgram per ml. Do you remember what is 50 microgram per ml, where I'm getting it? Some people is asking 2. How to? Syed, okay. So from the previous, because the standard DNA, if the OD is 1, the concentration is going to be 50. So dilution factor. Syed, have you done your protein estimation anytime? No? Okay. What is your background? Biochemistry. How come you didn't do protein estimation? Yeah. Okay. Have you done any glucose estimation in the blood serum? Mm. There you will be taking the dilution factor, right? The same dilution factor comes here also. Okay, Surabhi, what is your question? Gayatri, how come that comes here now? Which one comes where? "50 microgram per ml." See, in this 5 ml, I don't know what is the concentration. Okay. Shweta, it is written here. Can you read this? What is this? Can you read? What is that, Shweta? Now I am talking about concentration, Shweta. Don't get confused, guys. Okay. I didn't say anything about 1.5. Yeah. Okay, guys, please let me explain, then ask your question. You guys are totally confusing me. Will you listen me first? This is the concentration. This is the formula to check the purity of the sample. Purity means I want only DNA. I want to check is there is any protein is there or not. I can check the presence of protein only at the absorption at 280 because protein absorbs maximum at 280. Is it clear or not? In my sample, if the protein is very less, if I do this formula, my answer will come in between 1.7 to 2. Okay, if my answer comes in between 1.7 to 2, then my isolated sample is pure. It does not contain any protein. That's all I can infer. Clear? Shweta, I want response from everyone. I'm not going to answer the same question again and again. Clear? Now I am going to find the concentration of DNA present in this sample. This is the purity. I confirm that there is no protein here. I have only DNA or RNA. Now in this 5 ml, what I am going to do now, I am going to find the concentration. Now only I am coming to the concentration. What I am doing here, the formula is absorption as 280. Now I know that the sample contains only DNA, no protein. I don't care about protein now. So I take reading only at 260. But definitely there will be some turbidity. I don't want that contamination also, that error also. So I am minusing with absorption at turbidity. Understood? And dilution factor. Why this thing? Definitely if I say that by doing this, will I get some absorption value X? Let me give me the number. If this value is, let us say 5. Okay. Into dilution factor is, we'll take the same thing, we'll take 2 because I'm adding 0.5 in 0.5 ml of buffer. Dilution factor 2. So I know that 50 microgram per ml means what? The OD should be equivalent to 1. Understood? From this formula. Guys, are you there with me? So now, blindly I don't want any mathematics here. 5 into 210 into this one. So 1 OD means 50 microliter, 10 OD means how much? What is the concentration? 500. That's it. 500 microgram per ml is my concentration. Understood or not? Any question? Very good. You can do anything, Himanshu. Okay, this is the protocol. Yes. Always before going for any experiment, first thing you will be doing is purity check. After doing the purity check, you want to check the concentration. After that only you will go for any experiment. Clear? Yes or no? There will be lot of questions, guys. Lot of questions you will be getting on this. The next we are going to see is how I am going to quantitate or separate the DNA. When I separate the DNA, I will check the quality of my DNA, isolated DNA. Okay. You guys are there with me? Yes or no? Sleeping? 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 How many of you slept? Yes, Himanshu, we have done with quantity. Now we are going to do the quality check. Shika, first time I am seeing your name. Wide awake, sir. I never get any response. Okay, you guys are, the class is going interesting or boring? Somebody didn't get the dilution factor. Okay. Okay. Who is that? Who got that question? Dilution factor? Who is that, guys? I want to call the name. That's it. Okay, Preeti. In a tube, yes, what can I do, Mamita? If I didn't answer, somebody keep on pinging me, you are not answering my question, you are not answering my question. You have one person this side, I have so many people other side. In a test tube, I have 1 ml. Okay. In this, it contains 1 gram of salt. Okay. Preeti, I am explaining this 6th standard only for you. Say yes or no. Are you there listening me? Now what I do now, in another tube, I am transferring this 1 ml. So it contains 1 ml. Again, I am adding another 1 ml of water. Okay? Preeti, you are with me? Now, if I take the concentration, the same 1 gram is present in 2 ml. So I can say that this solution is 2 times diluted, isn't it? Initially 1 gram in 1 ml, now 1 gram in 2 ml. So 2 times it is diluted. If I put, instead of 1, if I put 4 ml, 1 gram is diluted in 5 ml. So 5 times it is diluted. Preeti, if I put 10 ml, 1 gram in 11 ml. So how many times is diluted? Preeti, can I have the answer? No response here. See, 11. Did you understand? Okay. So next we are going to see the qualitative. So mostly the DNA will be separated by, if the size of the DNA is 20 base pair to 2000 base pair, it can be separated using polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis. Mostly people will use this one to check the quality of PCR primers. Okay, and then conventional agarose gel electrophoresis. It can be used to separate 300 base pair to 40,000 base pair. There are some special agroses, low melting agarose, high melting agarose, that can be used to check 100 base pair to 2000 base pair. And then another method is called pulse field, which is called 40 kb to 2000 kb. What is mean by CHEF, guys? Any idea? What is CHEF? Yes or no? It is called counter clamped. No. It is not heat cold effect, Mansi. It is called counter clamp homogeneous electric field electrophoresis. Very high level electrophoresis. Okay, just read about it. So this only can be used like that. Okay. So now I am going to explain only about agarose electrophoresis. That is more than enough. Can you write it down? Counter clamped homogeneous electric field electrophoresis. Okay. No, Imanshu, that is one of the old, because the advanced version is pulse field. Principle is same. It is very tedious, but we can do wonders with this. The gel electrophoresis, we know that the same story I'll explain with a picture. Okay. So don't worry, whatever is there is written, I will be explaining. Mostly in the gel electrophoresis, it will have the negative electrode and then positive electrode. So always the DNA will be loaded in the negative side. Why? Why the DNA is always loaded on the negative side? Because the charge of the DNA is negative. Okay, when I load it, when I apply the electric current, always it will go from negative side to positive side. Here the separation is always based upon the molecular weight. Always the smallest one will be near the positive charge, the largest one is near the loading well. And then mostly what we will use now, if you see that agarose is the medium which is used to separate. Basically this agarose is the polysaccharide which has been isolated from seaweed, is nothing but, I think most of you must have used agar. If you purify agar, you will get is agarose. How many of you used agarose? Yeah, me, I used it. Very good in ice cream. No, Image, that is not ice. That is gelatin. Image, don't put agarose into that. Okay, very good. Agar or agarose. Okay. Since everybody has used, I have two questions. What is the melting temperature of agarose? What is the solidifying temperature of agarose? Let me see who can answer this. Surabhi. What is, yeah, right? What is what? What is melting temperature? What is? Good, Vanilla. The melting temperature is approximately 60 degrees. Very good. 64, 65, yes. What is solidifying temperature? Very good, Shweta. But almost. Solidifying temperature is around 45 degrees, not room temperature. The moment you keep, it is always people in the molecular biology lab, they'll say this is a bearable warm, then you pour the agarose into the platform, isn't it? This is the word most of the teachers will use, bearable warm. And then even some people will take the conical flask or any flask and then keep it on the cheek to check whether it is a bearable warm or not, because if it goes below 45 degrees, immediately it will solidify. And then you will get all the clumps into the platform. I think most of the people must have used this one, this technique. So this is all about agarose. The buffer which is used for this separation is, it can be TBE or TAE. What is TBE? What is TAE? What is TBE? What is TAE? Very good, Surabhi. What is TAE? Tris boric acid, borate, EDTA. Tris acetate, EDTA. Very good. So mostly why we use buffer in this conductivity, it has proper conductivity, ensures electric conductivity. Mostly even the agarose also will be dissolved in any one of this buffer. The same buffer will be used as a running buffer. Okay. So mostly this agarose is used for separation of DNA based on the size, and then to check the purity or purification of DNA fragment. How it can be purification in the high level research, if you see that sometimes the DNA will be mostly the express proteins. If you see that one DNA sample will be 300 base pair, another DNA will be 320 base pair. If you see this, always this will form only one band. Okay, because agarose has very less resolution capacity. But when I use low melting agarose, this separation can be seen. It can be very slow, very nearby 2 bands I can see. What people will do now, they'll keep this under UV, they'll take a scalpel blade, they'll cut only this area, whichever the band they want, and then after cutting they'll transfer into the Eppendorf tube, the agarose, they'll smash it and then add TE. Now what will happen? The DNA will be dissolved in TE. When you centrifuge, the agarose will be pelleted and then the DNA will be there in the solution. So that way the DNA, the agarose gel can also be used for purification of DNA fragments. And then moreover, this method is very simple. Yeah, Sweta, very good. And then relatively very rapid. And then fragments of the DNA can be visualized just by using a fluorescent intercalating agent like ethidium bromide. And then mostly this method is submersible method. Okay. So before loading the DNA, mostly the DNA sample will be mixed with loading buffer. Mostly the loading buffer will have some chemicals. Mostly it will have a sucrose, which increases the viscosity of my DNA sample. When I load into the well, it will not float. That is the idea about this. Mostly for any standard method, people will use 1% of agarose gel, bromophenol. Yeah, that is all that they'll use. So the outline of this electrophoresis is, first of all, they'll prepare the agarose gel. So what they'll do now, the known amount, the required amount of agarose will be weighed and then dissolved in the required volume of running buffer. After that, they will heat it and then cool. When it is about to solidify, they'll add the ethidium bromide, mix well, and then they'll pour into the casting tray with combs and then allow to solidify. And then they'll keep it in the running tank and then they'll add the running buffer, load the sample and marker, and then run at constant voltage. Gayatri is asking why running buffer is used. Even I had that question. Very good, Himanshu. Did you remember this slide? Did I show this slide? Himanshu? Yes. Did I say that the buffer provides ions in the solution to ensure electrical conductivity? Now I have a question. Where you went that time? You went out? Then how can you miss that? Gayatri, have you ever seen agarose gel electrophoresis? Himanshu, everybody is, when I ask this question, everybody is answering the same line. Guys, am I going very quick? No. Gayatri, have you seen any time agarose gel electrophoresis? No. Gayatri, have seen, right? Then how can you ask that question? Okay, those who are not seen, just it is there in the YouTube. You guys can check it, yeah. Anyway, Chaitanya, it can be in the casting gel or in the sample. They will not add. Mostly it will be always in the gel. So they run at the constant voltage. They'll view on the light DNA on the UV light. So this is how they will do. So the white color is your agarose gel. This is the well where they will add the sample. This is the negative electrode and then positive electrode. And then this is the buffer totally immersed. So when they add the sample, when they connect it to the electric current, it separates. The larger will be always near the well and the smallest will be always near the positive electrode. So mostly if you see that for separating genomic DNA, people will use 0.6% to 1% gel. In that 0.125 microgram of ethylene bromide will be added in the gel or in the running buffer. For that the current will be always used 70 to 80 volt. The time taken will be for 45 to 90 minutes. Whereas the RNA they will use 1 to 2%. Concentration of ethylene bromide is going to be the same 0.125 microgram. The electrophoresis volt will be 80 to 100 and then it will take 20 to 40 minutes. Okay. So how many of you seen DNA gel with agar gel with DNA? We used to load DNA later always in the first well. Is that specific adding in the first well? Mamita, it is not like that, yeah. It is not like always first well. It is, I don't know, if you, when you go for research, the main purpose of the marker is only to check the molecular weight of the DNA. So if you are using only single sample, people will use in the first well and then they'll use all the samples in other wells. But if you are having less number of sample, for example, in your well you have 5 wells. Okay. This is sample 1, you have another sample 2, sample 2. That time what they'll do now, they'll add the marker here. They'll take the picture. After that they'll cut here and then this will be one well. Or else for this 2 they'll cut here the photograph. So in one well they'll get 2 data. No? It is all, it doesn't matter that where you add. It is based upon what is your requirement. Okay. How do you decide the voltage on which gel will run? That is, you don't want to decide anything. Close your eyes, keep it this voltage, it will take this much time. Okay, it's all standardized. Nothing, no invention, no research here. So most of the DNA which can be visualized will be using ethylene bromide, because we know that ethylene bromide will excite when it is exposed to UV light. When it is stained, mostly the ethylene bromide will go and bind into the DNA as a intercalating agent. If someone accidentally add high amount of ethylene bromide, then Himanshu, you want to start from the day 1. That's it. Very simple answer. I have heard ethylene bromide causes germline mutation. Is there any alternative that we can introduce? Yeah, there are so many things are there. Where it intercalates in DNA? What Shweta question this is? 1,000 times I told. It goes and binds the DNA. Hydrogen bond. It doesn't, ethylene bromide does not know major groove or minor groove. It goes and bind in between the hydrogen bond. Why 0.6 to 1% agar gel? Okay. I told that is for genomic DNA, right? Pruta? Yes, Pruta, I am answering. Wait. Okay. If I am isolating human, if I am separating human chromosomal DNA and then bacterial chromosomal DNA, which one is big, human or bacteria? human will be always high. Okay, Pruta, yes, very good. 6%. What is mean by 6% na? 0.6. It is 600 mg in 100 ml. Right? That is 6%, right? Am I correct? 1% means 1 gram in 100 ml. So, Pruta, can you imagine when I solidify, this will form more porous gel, whereas this one little bit thick. Can you imagine that? Because the concentration of agar is very, very high. Pruta, can you imagine? Okay, very good. So the human DNA, because the size is very big, if I put it in 1%, it will take longer time to go through this very close pores and then get separated. So that time I will use 0.6. But bacterial DNA is smaller comparatively. When I put 1%, it will easily get separated. Clear? Okay. Any other question? Did I miss? Did I miss any other question? Okay. So always, why we use different voltage? The 0.6 gel gel, 1% gel. Here pore size. Here always use very low voltage. Here 1% people will use high voltage. Because why na? The friction between the DNA and the agarose will be very, very low. If I use high voltage, it will come out fast. Where here the friction between the DNA sample and the agarose gel is very high. Only if I use higher voltage, then only it will get separated. Nitish? Guys, I have a question. These are the things you guys should have asked during your bachelor's, na? You guys never asked. I feel that this is the first time you guys are listening. Is it so? What does it mean, Nitish? Yeah, you should have known this, Pruta. You have the answer in that question, Chaya. Sometimes we stop the voltage in mid of the running gel because band come before that time. Why so? It is not like that. If you use a chromosomal DNA, it will be always near to the well. What is their point in running the full gel? But thing is, we never listen properly that time. Okay, very good, yeah. Okay. So this is the proper DNA gel. How many of you seen this? It is DNA agar gel which is stained with ETBR. This is the perfect gel staining. You should have seen the blue color background with the orange color band. Okay. Then this is the whole blood DNA. I told about the chromosomal DNA. Na? This is what? If you see that this is the lambda marker, this is the lambda marker which is restricted with the hint3 marker, and then if you see that this particular thing, na, so how people will analyze, na, this well has very less DNA, this is degraded, this is also partially degraded, this is good. You can see that the boat shape, na, something like this. This is a very significant for chromosomal DNA. This is completely degraded. This is a very good DNA sample. No, very less. This is partially degraded. Partially degraded. This is very good. This can be partially degraded or protein contamination. Anything it can be. Okay. So this is how. So the smearing indicates the DNA degradation. This is what I told. It can be DNA degradation or it can be protein. Okay, guys. I think most of you seen this, na? Right? This agarose gel, bowl shape, yes. It is not bowl shape, it is a boat shape. Okay. Okay. Since you guys have seen, can I ask you a question? Boat shape will be seen only when you use chromosomal DNA, Gayatri. What is the minimum concentration required so that you can visualize in the agarose electrophoresis? 200 nanogram, my God, 10 nanogram. Aarti, we can say, I don't want range here. Absolute number, I want 0.5 microgram. Okay. 20 vanilla again. 20 microliters can contain 1 kg of DNA also. 1 picomole also. I don't want any range. I want absolute number. Do you know? Yeah, yesterday I told the story, na? Add solution 1, solution 2, that story only. You guys should know this one, yeah? It's very difficult. It's PhD entrance exam. 20 nanogram, guys. Okay? I can say that this is almost equivalent to 20 nanogram. This and this. Okay. Chitra or somebody. How I can say, what is the question? Different forms of RNA. Is that your question? Chitra or what? Yes. Before going to that, this is the plasmid. When you are isolating, you may get nickel-plasmid or linear plasmid, covalently bond plasmid, supercoiled plasmid, circular single stranded. This is how you will get. Very important. But when you cut everything using restriction enzyme, you will get only one band. The same plasmid, if this is in different forms, you will get like that. Always nicked on the top, followed by linear, covalently bounded, supercoiled, circular single stranded DNA. Very important part C question, guys. You have to remember this. The next one is how to differentiate different forms of RNA. This is how you look like. I don't know how to differentiate it. Always in the top, very trace amount of genomic DNA will be there, followed by this a faint band. This is the mRNA. This much only you will get it. The very thick band is your ribosomal DNA, and then the below is your tRNA. This is how you will get when you isolate any RNA from the sample. Okay. That's the end of isolation of DNA and then quantification.